The Interstellar Senate was a massive hall built inside a hollowed asteroid, floating in the neutral system of Zelkar. Inside this chamber, hundreds of alien races gathered. Each had their own seats, banners, and translators that made strange sounds into understandable words. The Senate had only one purpose that day: to discuss the Vorak swarm. The Vorak were a nightmare species. They did not talk. They did not trade. They did not negotiate. They only consumed. When they invaded a system, they stripped it of life: plants, animals, metals, even the planets themselves. They moved like a plague across the stars, and nothing could stop them. The Senate chamber buzzed with fear and anger. Reports had arrived that the Vorak had destroyed 3 more systems. Entire civilizations had been wiped out in days. Fleets of other species had tried to stop them, but the swarm was endless. Every time one hive fleet was destroyed, more appeared, from the dark. A tall insectoid senator named Vethlar clicked his mandibles and shouted, "If we do not act together, they will devour us one by one." His words were translated into dozens of languages. Another senator, a reptilian with golden scales, hissed back, "Act together with what? Our fleets are scattered, our soldiers exhausted. Even our strongest ships cannot hold against the swarm for long." Arguments spread through the chamber. Some called for mass evacuation of border worlds. Others wanted to form one giant fleet. But many senators had lost hope. In the middle of this storm sat Earth's ambassador, Ambassador Karen Ross. She was the only human in the chamber that day, wearing a simple navy blue uniform with the insignia of the United Earth Government. Humans were new to the galactic community. They had joined the Senate only 50 years ago, short compared to the millennia-old empires around them. Most aliens considered humanity small, weak, and inexperienced. Earth had a handful of colonies, a small fleet, and no great power in Senate politics. To most, humanity was barely above a minor race. But today, Ambassador Ross sat with calm eyes, listening to the chaos. Finally, the Speaker of the Senate, a massive jellyfish-like creature floating inside a water-filled pod, called for silence. "We must hear from all members. Humanity, do you wish to speak?" The chamber filled with soft laughter. Many aliens mocked the idea of listening to a human. Ambassador Ross stood. She was not tall compared to many alien delegates, but her voice was steady. "Yes, Speaker, humanity will speak." The hall grew quiet, though many aliens smirked, expecting useless words. Ross looked around at the chamber. "The Vorak are a danger to all. That much is clear. But I hear despair in this room. Some of you speak as if defeat is already certain. Humanity does not believe that." A roar of voices filled the chamber again. Some shouted that humans were naive. Others laughed loudly. One delegate yelled, "You cannot even defend your outer colonies. What can you do against the swarm?" Ross did not flinch. She raised her voice clear and sharp. "We can fight. We have prepared for this day." The laughter grew louder. Vethlar, the insectoid senator, tilted his head. "Prepared? What could your tiny fleets do? Your warships are barely larger than patrol craft." Another alien sneered. "The humans still use chemical missiles. They would not survive 1 minute against the Vorak." Ross let them finish. Then, she leaned forward, her eyes hard. "Do not be so quick to judge. Humanity has learned from history. We have fought wars where we were outnumbered, outgunned, and outmatched. And yet, we survived. We do not boast of strength. We build it in silence." The words cut through the laughter, leaving an uneasy silence. "Are you saying," hissed the golden-scaled senator, "that you have some hidden power?" Ross did not smile. She only said, "When the time comes, you will see." The Senate chamber filled with whispers. Some called it a bluff. Some thought it was arrogance. But a few looked at her differently, uncertain, maybe even afraid. The speaker's pod lights pulsed. "Humanity makes bold claims. Do you offer proof?" Ross shook her head. "Not yet." The speaker moved its long tendrils slowly. "Then, your words mean little." Ross answered firmly. "Words are not proof. Actions will be." The Senate ended the session in disorder. Many left mocking humanity, but in private corners of the chamber, alien intelligence officers whispered among themselves. What did the humans mean by prepared? That night, across the galaxy, rumors began to spread. Some alien news networks reported that humanity was bluffing to gain attention. They called it Earth's desperate attempt to matter. Others laughed and said humans still fought with crude weapons compared to advanced plasma and graviton technology. But a few remembered Earth's history. They remembered how humans had survived on a dangerous homeworld filled with storms, earthquakes, and predators. They remembered how humanity had fought wars even among themselves, creating weapons that shocked older civilizations. Whispers grew of a phantom warship hidden by humanity. In the shadows, alien spies moved. The Carethan Syndicate sent stealth probes toward Sol system, trying to scan human shipyards. They found nothing unusual, only patrol fleets, colony transports, and small defense cruisers. A Thalorian intelligence ship attempted to sneak near Jupiter's orbit. Its last transmission said, "We detected a massive energy signature near the outer moon. It was larger than anything we've seen. Then our sensors failed." The ship never returned. When this report leaked, panic and curiosity spread through Senate circles. Some dismissed it as human trickery. Others wondered if Earth had discovered an ancient artifact or reverse-engineered lost technology. One alien senator whispered to another, "If they truly have such a weapon, then perhaps humanity is more dangerous than we thought." Meanwhile, on Earth, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, lay a massive hidden hangar. Entire mountain ranges had been hollowed out. Factories worked day and night in silence, shielded from all scans. Inside, engineers walked across giant steel platforms. Pilots trained in simulators, and in the center of the hangar rested a colossus, a warship larger than any vessel in human history. Its black hull absorbed light. Its engines were built with fusion cores stacked like organs of a beast. Its weapons were so massive they looked like city towers pointing into space. This was the Aegis Eternal, humanity's hidden warship. For years, Earth had built it in secret. They did not tell the Senate because they never trusted the Senate to protect them. Humanity had seen too many powerful empires fall, too many treaties broken. They had learned one truth: survival depended on their own strength. Ambassador Ross knew this truth when she stood in the Senate chamber. She had seen the Aegis Eternal with her own eyes before leaving Earth. She remembered standing on the observation deck, staring at the giant ship as engineers walked like ants across its hull. The project leader had told her, "This is not just a warship. This is our shield, our hope. If the galaxy underestimates us, let them. The Aegis will speak when the time comes," and Ross believed. Back in the Senate, the Speaker scheduled another emergency session for the following week. The Vorax swarm had already entered a new system, only 2 jumps away from a core world. Panic was spreading fast. Many senators demanded fleets be sent at once. Others argued it was hopeless. When humanity's turn to speak came again, Ross stood once more. "We are ready," she said. "Do not underestimate us." The laughter was weaker this time. Some senators remained skeptical, but now a shadow of doubt filled the chamber. A reptilian senator asked, "Then why not show your power now if it truly exists?" Ross only replied, "Because the time is not yet right. When the swarm comes, then you will see what humanity has hidden." The words sent a chill across the chamber. In the dark space beyond the galactic core, the Vorax swarm continued to grow. Their countless bioships devoured planets and moons, turning them into fuel for more hive fleets. They did not know of the Senate. They did not know of humanity. But soon, their path would cross Earth's. The Senate chambers were quieter than usual. The laughter and mockery that had once followed Ambassador Ross's words now came only in small echoes. Something had changed. The Vorax swarm continued to devour systems near the galactic rim. Worlds burned, space stations vanished, and refugees filled Senate-controlled sectors. Desperation grew. Fleets were stretched thin. Morale dropped lower with every passing day, and in the shadows of the chamber, one word kept appearing again and again. Aegis. No one knew where the word started. Perhaps it came from a rumor among spies. Perhaps it was whispered by human traders in backwater ports. But the name spread like fire. Some said the Aegis was a human warship so large it could eclipse a star. Others claimed it was not built by humans at all, but stolen alien technology hidden away on Earth. A few believed it was only a bluff, a story to frighten enemies. Whatever the truth, the galaxy was curious. On the planet Dravicor, a hub for mercenaries and smugglers, a group of alien captains met in a dark cantina. They were traders of secrets, always hungry for information. "I heard it is a moonship," one said, a gray-skinned mammal with glowing eyes. "A war vessel carved from a moon itself." "Foolish," spat a reptilian mercenary. "Humans could never build such a thing. Their yards are too small. Their fleets are too weak." Another leaned forward, his voice hushed. "Then explain this. A Thalorian spy ship vanished near Jupiter. Their last message spoke of a massive energy field. Something moved out there, and it was no fleet, just one shadow." The group fell silent. Back in the Senate, alien intelligence agencies grew restless. The Corathans sent another stealth probe into Sol. This time it was cloaked with advanced graviton screens. It slipped past Earth's satellites and scanned deeper into the system, but when it reached Neptune's orbit, its sensors went blind. Static filled every channel. Then the probe transmitted one last image before it burned out, a black shape moving against the stars. It was too large to measure, its edges lost in the void. The probe never returned. The Corithan ambassador demanded answers in the Senate. "What are you hiding, humans? We sent a peaceful probe and it was destroyed." Ross stood calmly. "Perhaps your probe was too close to restricted space." The chamber filled with argument. Some accused humanity of aggression. Others whispered that perhaps the probe had seen something it should not. The speaker demanded order. "If humanity has weapons capable of such feats, they must declare them to the Senate." Ross only said, "Humanity builds for defense, not for show." That answer satisfied no one. But it gave no proof either. The Vorak did not wait for Senate debates. They attacked again. This time it was the system of Grilthar, only 3 jumps from a core world. Billions lived there. The Senate scrambled to send fleets, but they knew they would arrive too late. A desperate transmission came from Grilthar's governor. "The skies are filled with them. We cannot hold. Someone, anyone, help us." Then silence. In the chamber, senators wailed in despair. Some demanded surrender talks with the swarm, even though everyone knew the Vorak did not speak. Others shouted for unity, but most sat in silence, staring at their desks. For the first time, Ambassador Ross spoke without being asked. She stood tall, her voice cutting through the gloom. "Humanity will send aid." The chamber burst into noise. "You?" One senator laughed bitterly. "You will send your toy cruisers against the swarm? Do not waste our time." Another shouted, "If you truly have this phantom warship, now is the time to reveal it." Ross did not shout back. She simply said, "Humanity will act. Watch and you will see." Across the galaxy, fleets were in motion. The United Earth government gave a silent order. From the hidden base beneath the Pacific and the black yards of Neptune's shadow, the Aegis Eternal stirred. Its engines hummed like a deep storm. Power surged through kilometers of armored hull. Railguns the size of towers aligned, each capable of launching metal slugs at near light speeds. Missile silos opened, holding warheads designed not for show, but for survival. The crew boarded in silence, thousands of officers and engineers who had trained for this day. Pilots checked fighters stored in hangars larger than cities. Generals reviewed battle plans in war rooms filled with holograms. The ship was ready. The captain of the Aegis Eternal, Admiral Marcus Hale, stood on the bridge. He was an older man, his face marked with scars from past battles. His voice was steady when he gave the order. Set course for Grilthar. The engines roared and the hidden Titan slipped into faster-than-light travel. Meanwhile, alien fleets that had rushed to Grilthar fought desperately against the Vorak. The Vorak ships were not like normal vessels. They looked alive. Giant insect-like. Creatures with armored shells and burning eyes. They swarmed in thousands, ramming, tearing, and spitting plasma from organic cannons. The defending fleets fought bravely, but they were outnumbered 20-1. An alien commander cried, "We cannot hold, we must retreat." But before the order could be given, sensors flared. A gravitational distortion appeared near the shattered moon of Grilthar. Something massive arrived. At first, the alien crews thought it was a small moon drifting into orbit, but then lights flickered across its hull, engines burned blue fire, and weapons rotated into position. It was the Aegis Eternal. The first to see it were the alien commanders on their bridges. Their jaws dropped, their tendrils shook, their mandibles clicked in disbelief. The Aegis was beyond anything they imagined. Its hull stretched longer than their entire fleets combined. Its armor glowed faintly, absorbing enemy scans. Its silhouette was not smooth like alien ships but sharp and angular, built for war and nothing else. The swarm turned toward the new arrival. Thousands of organic ships screeched and charged. Admiral Hale's voice echoed across the human fleet. Weapons free. The battle began. The Aegis Eternal opened fire with its railguns. Slugs of solid metal, each the size of a building, ripped through the void at incredible speed. Every shot tore dozens of Vorak ships apart, exploding them into clouds of burning flesh and shattered bone. Missile silos launched storms of warheads. Each missile split into smaller projectiles, weaving through the swarm like hunters. Explosions lit the darkness, wiping out clusters of enemy ships. From hangar bays, swarms of human fighters launched. Tiny compared to the Aegis, but armed with advanced rail cannons and plasma lances, they cut through the enemy like blades. Alien fleets watched in stunned silence. They had seen great warships before. They had seen dreadnoughts, battle platforms, and defense stations, but never had they seen one ship stand against thousands and win. The swarm roared back. They rammed the Aegis, trying to tear into its hull, but the armor held, reinforced with alloys the Senate had never known humans could create. Plasma blasts struck, but shields absorbed the energy. Admiral Hale stood calm on the bridge. Hold course. Fire at will. And the Aegis fired again and again, every blast shaking the void. Hours later, the swarm was broken. Thousands of their ships burned as drifting wreckage. The survivors fled into the dark. The alien fleets cheered, their commanders speechless. One alien admiral whispered, "That is no warship. It is a fortress that moves." The Aegis Eternal did not boast. It did not transmit threats or demands. It simply stood there, silent and unstoppable. The galaxy had its answer. Humanity's hidden warship was real. Word spread faster than light. Across every Senate world, news channels showed images of the Black Titan cutting through the swarm. Citizens who had mocked humanity now watched in awe. Military leaders who had dismissed Earth now studied the footage with fear. In the Senate chamber, silence ruled. For the first time in living memory, no one laughed at humanity. Ambassador Ross rose and spoke only one sentence. "You see now why we said we were ready." The galaxy could not believe what it had seen. News of the battle at Grilthar spread faster than light. Every network, every broadcast, every trader in every starport carried the same story. The humans had unleashed a ship unlike anything the galaxy had ever known. Alien citizens gathered around holoscreens, watching grainy footage of the Aegis Eternal. The warship looked like a shadow carved from the void, its sharp edges glowing faintly with power. They saw it tear through the Vorak swarm, its railguns blasting holes through thousands of enemy ships, its missiles burning like falling stars. For the first time in centuries, the Senate had hope, but with that hope came fear. In the Senate chamber, silence reigned when Ambassador Ross entered. No one mocked her now. No one laughed. All eyes followed her as she walked to her seat. The speaker pulsed with nervous light. "Humanity, you have revealed something unexpected. Ross stood calmly. You asked for proof. You have seen it. Whispers filled the chamber. The golden-scaled senator, who had once laughed the loudest, now hissed nervously. How could you build such a thing without Senate oversight? No species has ever hidden a ship of that size. Ross replied evenly. We built it because we had no choice. The swarm threatens everyone, but for too long humanity was told we were too weak. So we prepared in silence. Some senators nodded with respect. Others looked uneasy. Vethlar, the insectoid senator, clicked his mandibles. You claim this. Ship is for defense, yet one vessel that powerful? It could destroy entire fleets, even Senate capitals. Why should we trust you? The chamber grew tense. Many stared at Ross, waiting for her answer. Her eyes were steady. Because we did not use it against you. We used it to save Grilthar. The argument was simple, and it silenced the room. But outside the chamber, storms began. Some empires demanded humans share the technology. Others argued the Aegis Eternal made humanity too powerful. A few even whispered that perhaps humanity should be removed before they built more of these fortresses. Spy networks doubled their efforts. Probes vanished near Earth space. Human patrol ships shot down intruders without hesitation. Everywhere, one question burned in alien minds. If this was only one ship, how many more did humanity hide? Admiral Hale and his crew had no time for politics. The Aegis Eternal returned to human space for repairs. Its hull still carried scars from the swarm's attacks, but the ship had survived with strength to spare. Engineers swarmed its surface, fixing armor plates the size of city blocks. Pilots refueled fighters, technicians reloaded missile bays. On the bridge, Hale studied the reports. The Vorak swarm was not defeated. The fleet at Grilthar had only been one of many. Larger hives were moving closer toward Senate space. We bought time, Hale muttered, but not enough. A young officer asked, Do you think the Senate will join us, sir? Hale shook his head. The Senate is too divided. Some will help, some will hide, and some will see us as a threat. In the end, humanity stands alone, just as we always prepared for. He looked out at the black hull stretching into the stars. But with the Aegis, we are not helpless anymore. Back in the Senate, arguments grew sharper. The reptilian senator slammed his claws on the desk. We cannot allow a young species to hold such power. Humanity must hand over the ship, or at least reveal its design, Vethlar hissed. And if they refuse? Do you want war with the very species that just saved Grilthar? Others shouted for unity, but fear spoke louder than reason. Finally, the speaker called for silence. We will not decide today, but know this. The Vorak move closer. If we fight each other instead of the swarm, we are already lost. Meanwhile, alien citizens across the galaxy debated endlessly. On trade stations, workers argued if humanity was savior or conqueror. They saved billions at Grilthar, one said. If not for them, the swarm would already be in core space. But think, another replied. If they can build one of those ships, maybe they can build 10. Who could stop them then? Some feared. Others admired, but all agreed on one thing. Humanity was no longer weak. In human space, the reaction was different. Across Earth and its colonies, people cheered when the news arrived. For decades, they had been treated as a minor species. Now, their hidden strength had stunned the galaxy. Children wore patches with the name Aegis Eternal. Songs were written about its victory. For the first time, humans felt they had earned true respect among the stars. But in secret, government leaders knew the truth. The Vorak were not finished. The Aegis was powerful, but it could not be everywhere at once. The swarm would attack again, and harder. Plans were already being made. At the edge of the Vorak-controlled sector, scouts detected movement. The swarm was gathering a fleet larger than any seen before. Billions of living ships swarmed together, ready to strike at the next system. The Vorak did not fear the Aegis. They were endless. For every fleet destroyed, they could grow another. But they had noticed something strange. The last time they attacked, one ship had stood against them and won. Though the Vorak could not speak, could not reason. Their hive mind marked the humans. Now, as a priority threat, back at the Senate, Ross received a private message from Earth. The swarm was moving again. She stood in the chamber and spoke with calm authority. The Vorak will strike again soon. Humanity will not stand idle. If you wish to survive, join us, a senator shouted. Or perhaps you just want us to follow you. Ross's voice grew sharper. We do not ask you to follow. We ask you to fight. The Aegis can hold, but it cannot be everywhere. The swarm will not stop. Every world will fall if you do nothing. For the first time, her words carried weight. Many senators looked afraid, but not of humanity. They feared the swarm. In the War Council chambers, alien admirals reviewed battle footage of the Aegis Eternal. This ship fights differently, one said. It does not dodge like ours. It does not rely on energy beams. It fights with brutal force, with weapons designed to crush, not to scare. Another nodded slowly. It is human, built for survival. They realized something else. Humanity's strength did not come only from the ship. It came from the mindset behind it, the refusal to surrender, the will to fight when all others gave up. And that frightened them even more than the warship itself. When the swarm moved again, the Senate had a choice. They could send fleets to fight alongside the humans, or they could hide behind their walls and hope the Aegis would be enough. In the chamber, the speaker asked one last question. Humanity, what will you do if we do not join you? Ross answered without hesitation. Then we will fight alone. And if we fall, you will be next. The silence that followed was heavier than any laughter that had once filled the room. The galaxy now understood one truth. The humans had hidden their strength for years, and when the swarm came, they unleashed it. But that was only the beginning. The Vorak had taken notice. The galaxy was tense. The Vorak swarm had grown larger than ever. Their countless living ships moved through the void like a black storm, consuming everything in their path. Entire systems were stripped bare in hours. Panic spread faster than the speed of light, and the Senate finally realized the true scale of the threat. For years they had debated, postponed, and doubted. Now, they had no choice. The swarm was at the edge of core space. Worlds that had stood for millennia could vanish in a single day. The Senate chamber was alive with panic. Delegates shouted over each other, some calling for immediate action, others arguing that the swarm was unstoppable and surrender was the only option. Through the noise, Ambassador Ross walked calmly to her podium. She did not shout. She did not wave her arms. She only spoke. The swarm is coming, she said, and humanity will fight. Some delegates laughed nervously, not out of amusement, but fear. One senator hissed, "You cannot fight the swarm alone. You are just one species, one ship." Ross's eyes did not waver. Not just one species, not just one ship. Humanity has allies willing to stand. But you must decide, will you act or will you hide behind your borders? The chamber fell silent. Even the skeptics hesitated. Outside the Senate, fleets of alien ships scrambled into motion. But coordination was poor. Every species had its own command, its own plan, its own fear. The Vorak did not care about politics. They moved relentlessly toward a sector rich with colonies and core systems. Their hive mind adjusted, learned, and hunted efficiently. Any weakness would be exploited, and they had already marked the humans. On Earth, the Aegis Eternal stood ready. Its hull glimmered faintly, a dark sentinel against the stars. Thousands of engineers, pilots, and crew worked tirelessly to prepare the ship for the coming battle. Admiral Marcus Hale stood on the bridge. He did not speak much. He rarely needed to. The crew knew his orders would be precise, unwavering, and deadly. "The swarm will not wait," Hale said. "We must lead or billions will die. The Senate may follow or they may hesitate. Either way, we fight first." The hum of engines filled the bridge. The warship's power core pulsed like a living heartbeat. From hidden bays, smaller human ships and fighters launched. Every vessel had a role. Every pilot had trained for years for this exact moment. As the Aegis Eternal moved toward the swarm, alien fleets slowly began to gather around it. Many were skeptical, unwilling to trust the humans fully. Some kept their distance, fearing that the Aegis could turn its power on them as easily as it could on the swarm. But desperation forced cooperation. No empire wanted to face the swarm alone. The first skirmish occurred near a mining station that had become a trap for the swarm. Hundreds of Vorak ships swarmed the station, consuming and crushing everything. Alien fleets tried to intervene, but they were too slow, too scattered. The station would have fallen within minutes, if not for the Aegis Eternal. The humans arrived like a shadow from the dark. The Aegis fired its railguns, tearing the swarm apart with precision. Missile barrages created walls of fire, cutting off enemy formations. Fighters swarmed in coordinated strikes, taking down Vorak ships faster than alien fleets could track them. Alien commanders watched in awe. One admitted quietly, "I never imagined a single ship could control a battlefield like this." Hale's voice came over the fleet channels. "Form up. Protect the colonies. Let no ship escape destruction." The Vorak adapted quickly. They rammed, fired, and regrouped. But the Aegis anticipated each move. Its shields held, its weapons fired faster and more accurately than anything in alien memory. The battle raged for hours. Planets shook under the Vorak bombardments. Stars lit with the fire of collisions. And through it all, the Aegis Eternal held the line, unstoppable and terrifying. The Senate, observing from orbiting stations, could hardly believe what they saw. This is impossible," whispered a delegate. "One ship, and it holds an entire swarm back?" The golden-scaled senator, once proud and mocking, now looked pale. "And it fights alone. It could wipe out entire fleets if it chose. Humanity, they are no longer weak." Vethelar clicked his mandibles slowly. "We judge them too quickly. They did not reveal everything. Perhaps we have underestimated them for too long." Other delegates murmured agreement. Fear had replaced arrogance. Respect had replaced mockery. And in that moment, the Senate realized that humanity had earned their place among the stars, not by words, not by politics, but by sheer power and will. Back in the battle, the Vorak made a desperate move. A massive hive ship, larger than anything seen before, broke through the human line and aimed straight for a core world station. Admiral Hale's eyes narrowed. "Focus all fire. Take it down before it reaches the station." Every weapon on the Aegis targeted the hive ship. Railguns fired simultaneously. Missiles exploded and fighter squadrons swarmed it from all directions. The hive ship screamed, organic screams amplified through space, and then shattered into fragments. The debris rained across the void. The alien fleets, inspired by the human tactics, finally began coordinating. They formed lines and protected each other, following the humans' lead. Slowly the tide turned. By nightfall in that sector, the Vorak had been repelled, though at a high cost. Several colonies were lost and many alien ships were destroyed, but the Aegis Eternal remained intact, the symbol of hope and power in the galaxy. When the battle ended, the Senate called an emergency session. Delegates spoke in hushed tones, unwilling to argue over politics after witnessing such power. Ross addressed the chamber. "The swarm is relentless. It will not stop until the galaxy unites or dies. Humanity cannot fight alone forever. We ask you now, will you stand with us?" The golden-scaled senator stood, trembling slightly. We will follow you. The humans have proven their strength, their ship, their tactics. It is beyond anything we could have imagined." Vethelar nodded slowly. "We underestimated them. Humanity stands alone for now, but we see they deserve our respect and perhaps our loyalty." Other delegates followed. Fear and respect had changed the Senate in a single battle. Back on Earth, the victory was celebrated, but leaders knew this was only the beginning. The Vorak swarm would return, larger and smarter. Humanity had shown its power, but even the Aegis Eternal could not stop the entire swarm alone. Plans were already made for more warships, more fleets, and more training. Earth's colonies prepared for a long struggle. Scientists studied alien technologies, engineers worked on upgrades, and soldiers drilled day and night. But for the first time in human history, the galaxy watched them with awe and a little fear. Children on distant colonies painted murals of the Aegis Eternal. Citizens told stories of the black ship that had stopped a nightmare from consuming the stars. And every alien who had witnessed the battle whispered a new name: the Children of Earth. In the void beyond the core, the Vorak regrouped. They had learned. They were no longer attacking blindly. Their hive mind marked humanity as a new predator, a new target that could not be ignored. The next attack would be larger, deadlier, more precise. But the galaxy had already changed. No one would underestimate humanity again. The galaxy waited in silence. After the last battle, the Vorak swarm had retreated, temporarily. But the humans and the Senate knew it would return. Bigger and stronger. Every system was on alert. Every fleet was ready. Every citizen feared the next strike. But Earth did not tremble. Humanity had revealed its strength. They had shown the galaxy what one species, united, could achieve. And now they would prove it again. The Aegis Eternal glided through the void like a black leviathan. Its hull reflected distant stars. Its weapons were primed. Its crew was ready. Admiral Marcus Hale stood on the bridge, silent, surveying the stars. His eyes had seen too many battles, too many losses, too many young soldiers die. But this time he believed in victory. "The swarm will come," he said softly. "And we will be ready." The communications officer looked uneasy. "Sir, the Senate fleets have begun moving to the outer rim systems, but coordination is slow. Some species are hesitant." Hale nodded. "They have seen our power. That is enough. Once the battle begins, fear will guide them, or they will fight beside us. Either way, humanity must lead." The Vorak approached in waves. This time, their fleet was unlike any seen before. Billions of ships, moving as one, their hive mind controlling every movement with terrifying precision. Every planet in the sector was at risk. Every station could fall. The Senate's fleets tried to form a line, but panic caused gaps. Alien admirals shouted orders that conflicted with each other. In the chaos, one mistake could mean death for thousands. And then the Aegis Eternal appeared. From the shadows of a distant star, the black ship moved forward. It did not hesitate, it did not falter. Its weapons glowed faintly, waiting. Its engines hummed like a heartbeat in the void. Alien captains stared. They had seen it before. They had witnessed its power at Grilthar. But now, they saw it ready to face a swarm many times larger. This is insane," whispered one admiral. "It will die. There is no way one ship can do this." Hale's voice came over the comms. Calm, steady, commanding. "Then let us prove otherwise." The battle began. The Vorak attacked first, ramming and firing plasma waves. Entire fleets were obliterated in seconds. The Aegis Eternal moved like a phantom, firing railguns that tore massive holes through enemy lines. Missiles rained down like a meteor storm, cutting Vorak ships into pieces. Fighter squadrons launched from its hangars, swarming the swarm itself. Every pilot knew their orders. Every shot counted. Even alien ships began to follow the humans' lead. Slowly, coordination improved. Slowly, hope returned. But the swarm was relentless. A massive hive ship, larger than a moon, charged directly at the core of the Senate's fleet. Shields flared. Beams of energy lashed out. Alien admirals panicked. Many believed it would destroy the line completely. Hale did not hesitate. "All firepower. Focus on the hive ship. Protect the fleet at all costs." Railguns fired simultaneously. Missile swarms struck in perfect timing, and fighter squadrons darted around the enormous ship. For the first time, alien admirals witnessed human precision, human courage, human creativity in battle. The hive ship screamed and twisted, but nothing could stop the Aegis Eternal. It shattered under combined fire. breaking into hundreds of pieces that burned across space. The alien fleets erupted in awe and relief. "They did it," whispered one. "They saved us all." The Vorak were relentless, but their waves began to break. Every attack was met with calculated counterattacks. Every attempt to flank was blocked. Humanity's hidden strategies, developed in secret for decades, guided the fleets. The Aegis moved with deadly precision, striking where needed, retreating when necessary, absorbing attacks, and retaliating with devastating force. Alien commanders realized something they had never expected. The humans did not just fight, they thought, adapted, and inspired. Their courage spread through the Senate fleets like a contagion. Fear turned to determination. Hesitation became action. By nightfall in that sector, the swarm had been broken. Scattered Vorak ships fled into unknown space. Many were destroyed. Some survived, but the hive mind had learned to fear humans, and the galaxy had witnessed the impossible. The Senate held an emergency session after the battle. No one doubted humanity anymore. No one mocked. Every delegate knew what had just happened. One species, united and prepared, had saved billions from certain death. Ross addressed the chamber. "We did not fight for glory. We fought for survival. Humanity will continue to fight, but we cannot do it alone. If the galaxy unites, the swarm can be stopped completely. If not, more will die. The choice is yours." The golden-scaled senator spoke first. "I was wrong. Humanity is no longer weak. Their power is beyond any race in this chamber. We will join them. We will stand together." Bethlar nodded. "We underestimated them for too long. Now we see the truth. The children of Earth have earned our respect and our trust." Other delegates followed. The Senate united not out of fear alone, but respect, admiration, and the knowledge that humanity had shown what was possible when one species refused to bow. Back on the Aegis Eternal, Hale looked out at the stars. The battle was won, but the Amazes war was far from over. "Admiral," said his first officer, "they are calling for a celebration in the Senate. They want to honor humanity." Hale did not smile. "We do not fight for honors. We fight because we must. But perhaps it is time for the galaxy to understand what humans can do when they prepare, when they act, when they fight together." The crew nodded. They had seen history being written. The Senate held a formal ceremony for humanity. Aliens of all races came, many still shaking from fear and excitement. Hale and Ross stood before the chamber. Delegates spoke with admiration and humility. Tributes were given. Honors were offered. And for the first time, humans were no longer newcomers, no longer considered weak. They were equals. Children on distant colonies looked at the broadcasts and whispered stories about the Aegis Eternal and the humans who had led the galaxy against impossible odds. Historians wrote, "Humanity had hidden strength. Humanity had hidden courage. Humanity had hidden ingenuity. And when the time came, they revealed it to save the stars." In the void beyond, the Vorak retreated, but they would return. They had learned about humanity now. They had marked them as predators in their hive mind. The next attack would be smarter, deadlier. But the galaxy was ready. Not just humans, not just the Aegis Eternal, but now the united Senate fleets stood together. The fear that had paralyzed civilizations was replaced with resolve. Humanity had led, inspired, and shocked the galaxy, and that was the essence of HFY. Humanity, underestimated and mocked, had revealed its hidden strength when the stars themselves hung in the balance. On Earth, people celebrated quietly. The victory had cost lives and the war was far from over, but humanity's place in the galaxy had been earned. They were no longer the junior member, the weaklings, the newcomers. They were protectors, innovators, survivors. And somewhere, deep in space, the Aegis Eternal glided silently, ready to face whatever came next. The galaxy had expected weakness. Instead, it found humanity.